You're listening to The Long Night, 108.8 FM, the WRKM station out of the Northern Bones. There are stories hidden across this country, stories buried in the walls of old houses, whispered down empty hallways, and locked away in the memories of people who were never supposed to speak them aloud. This is Darkness Across America, a new series where we bring those voices to light. These are not legends or campfire tales. They are lived experiences, and sometimes the truth is stranger than we imagine. Our first guest takes us to upstate New York, to a once grand mansion built by the Vanderpool family, known for their wealth and influence in the state's history. Years after the family was gone, the estate became something else. A place where the past didn't rest easy. Rob moved into this mansion, alone except for his loyal dog. What happened inside those walls defies explanation. From chilling encounters to nights where the line between the living and the dead were blurred completely. And along the way, he even crossed paths with someone you might have heard of, Ted Danson. Tonight, Rob shares a story with us. I'm Rafael Martinez, and there's darkness across America. Ladies and
So,
gentlemen,
Raphael, where the hell are my reading glasses? What'd you do with my reading glasses? Fuck did they go? There's the remote control. They're supposed to be next to the damn remote control. Anyway.
ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting down with one of the most interesting people I've met all year. He sent me an amazing email about an amazing story. I'm not overselling it. I'm not overselling him. This guy is the real McCoy, as they used to say. Ladies and gentlemen, my man, Rob. Rob, thank you for taking time to sit down with me tonight.
Oh, happy to join you. I like what you're doing.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about you, man? Like, I know about you, but I want the world to know about you.
The world, to some degree, does. I get around out here. Well, I have the good fortune of having a real combination. Like, I can go out and operate a bulldozer with expertise, heavy equipment operation. And it's like a part of my body. I don't have a real knack for operating such heavy equipment. And I was taught by the best guy in the Hudson Valley. He was like the king of the hill in the Hudson Valley. So that helped. But you have to have, people say you can do anything you want in America. And that's true. But you have to have the aptitude.
100%.
And, I happen to have the aptitude. So I can operate the heavy equipment. And then, the blue collar stuff, very important part of my life. And then on the other side of things, the intellectual side, it's, I've written a play that people are raving about the excerpts of, and I've done a lot of acting. I've been involved with some pretty serious productions here in New York.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of amazing about you. You're kind of like a jack of all trades. Like, you're like the everyman, but also the thespian.
Yeah, they say jack of all trades, master of none. I changed it. It's jack of all trades, master of some.
I like that one. So let me ask you this, like, where did you grow up?
On the moon. Born on the moon, crater XJ2. No, I was born 90 miles north of the city in Kingston, New York.
Nice. What was it like growing up there?
I'm sorry?
What was it like growing up there?
It was a clean little town when I was growing up there. Pretty nice. New York State's first capital. So there's some rich history, and I've always loved history. It was New York State's first capital, so New York State's Constitution was drafted at the Senate House uptown Kingston and read aloud off the steps of what is now the Ulster County Courthouse. And I really grew on historical imaginations. You learn from your history, and it's fascinating stuff. And nice little town, but not so much anymore. You see a lot of Walking Dead running around there. It's just kind of a wasteland in Midtown. If you're in the Strand area, the Rondout Basin of Kingston, New York, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
We got 4-star restaurants. You got the boats coming in, and that's very nice. And then the Uptown district, they call it the Stockade district. That's when stupid sons of bitches would be put in the stockade for punishment. They'd be pilloried there back in the day. So So what happened was it was the capital, and then the Brits came, burned them to the ground. They fled north, and Albany became New York State's capital.
Well, I had no idea. I had no idea that was the original New York State Capitol.
Yeah, it's right on the sign on the thruway. Exit 19, Kingston, New York State's first capital. But a lot of people don't know, yeah.
Yeah, that's like wow. I'm actually gonna do a deep dive on that now. When I get off the call with you, I'll definitely look into that. Like, so
yeah, it's cool stuff.
So I would say, like, you're into history. What would be, I guess, your favorite historical fact that you know? That it's something you always bring up at parties and such.
Well, I never, ever go with a singular favorite on anything. There are just too many variables.
True that.
I'll always go more like top five. Who's your favorite actor? Yeah, I pick like five.
Gotcha.
A favorite historical reference or tidbit is, and I asked this question, for whose death did the Liberty Bell toll when she cracked? And nobody ever gets the answer to that. Got talking with a man by the name of Ted Danson back like a long time back ago. I was overhauling the landscaping at Washington Square Park, and I'm walking through Washington Square Park looking like Farmer Bob. I got dirt all over me, and I'm done for the day. I'm walking, and I see this man sitting there soaking up the sun, and I look back at him, and he locked eyes. Now, if you're going to lock eyes with me, and I know you're somebody famous, you don't just look away. I'm stopping. So I stop and I say, is that Ted? Is that Ted Danson? And he says, yeah, it's me. And I say to him, well, you did a great job with Sam Malone on Cheers. What a fantastic job. What a fantastic sitcom, a real classic. Then let me shake your hand. I shake his hand. Let me get the hell out of your son. And I go to leave. He says, hey, you got a minute? Have a seat. Now I'm looking like Farmer Bob, and he's telling me have a seat.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I sit there. Now, Brian, what's Shelley Long like? And you act like a sycophant. They're going to be like, yeah, okay, get the hell out of here. But so he and I spoke for like 45 minutes on that park bench. And at the time, I was looking to do a game show about American history on public access. This is like 1990s. I was young and bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and very young. And so I asked him, so he says, yeah, throw me some questions. This is Ted Danson here.
Yeah, you're playing the game with Ted Danson in the middle of Washington Square Park.
Yeah, on a park bench in Washington Square Park that I'm in charge of overhauling all the landscape of. So I'm like, wow, this is like out of a movie. So I say to Ted Danson, all right, the first 5 American presidents in order. He gives me the first 5, the second 5, the third, and the fourth. He goes 20 in and says, should I go all the way to the current day? I was like, damn, you, Mr. Danson, have just won a new TV. So we're laughing like old friends. He says, come on, give me another one. All right, how many Supreme Court justices are there? Name 3. The man named all 9 without hesitation.
God damn, he's like, he's a pull shark for history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I was just like, you're a pig. You're a hog. You win all the prizes. Nobody gets prizes but you. So he says, no, you're just too easy. Oh, now you're challenging me, bub. So that's when I hit him with that question. He gave a good, solid answer, good guess, which was Paul Revere.
Yeah.
Most people say Ben Franklin, Philadelphia. And so I was like, now was the first United States Supreme Court justice to die. That would be John Marshall. I was like, So anyway, it was really fun to sit with him and go over history. And I was astonished at how knowledgeable Ted Danson really knows stuff. I mean, he's very smart. He has depth, real depth. And we argued politics. He's a liberal. I'm not a liberal. So we got fighting politics.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. And then his daughter comes along, Daddy. And so he says, come on, I'll introduce you to my daughter. So I'm walking with Ted Danson, walking through Washington Square Park to meet his daughter. She was doing an NYU tour. Mm-hmm. That's why he was seated there. So she and I meet, and he says, you need to give him a hug. Doesn't matter, he's dirty. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I'm hugging Ted Danson's daughter, and with like earth on me. But yeah, it was a nice moment. And Ted Danson, let me tell you, that man put his arm around me as we walked toward his daughter and said, "Rob, if there's anything I could ever do for you," that's a real man. He knew I'm opposite him politically, ideologically. I'm not a liberal at all. I have a liberal streak here and there, but I think liberalism is half of it, or more than 75% of it is just kind of dumb. I mean, it's like people don't get it, you know. And but he and I like having the debates, and I don't hate them or anything. But he offered to help me any way he could, even though we were opposite. So that's telltale about Ted Danson and what he's got inside. He's a good man.
Well, that's great to hear. You see people who meet celebrities, and you always hear the old adage, "Don't meet your heroes," because it won't turn out well. But this is a case where the thing you guys connected with would be the last thing people would think you two would connect on. That's a love of the country and love of history, and that's something that runs deep. I think there was a generation of people that ran so deep, where knowing your history was a sense of pride, and you knew it because you had to recite it, because you had to remember it for the future. And now here you two guys just having a grand old time playing with that kind of responsibility that you have as Americans. So there's something really beautiful in that, and in Washington Square Park of all places.
Right, and I tell you now, I've had at it with famous liberals. I hosted a political radio and internet show, and the liberals often they don't really know American history, because they kind of scoff. Like, America is just the white man came, stole the land from the red man, and built it up on the backs of black slaves. That's kind of the outlook from the left. And while there's truth to that, it is nowhere near as simple as that. Nowhere near. And so I delve into the depth. I once came pretty close to going on Bill Maher's show. If I had gotten there, he's got quick wit. He'll cut you to ribbons with that wit. Do not try to fight wits with Bill Maher. He will crush you. You cannot fight wits with that guy. He's probably the quickest wit there is, and out there. He's super quick-witted, and he will cut you to ribbons. But if I was ever the token Republican on his show, I'd get him in the deep waters. You get Bill Maher in the deep waters, you got him.
Yeah. Well, speaking of deep waters, this story you sent me is to me, you were in the deep water of some supernatural stuff. You were in the devil's chamber, So let's start from the beginning. Where was this mansion you were staying at, and how did you first hear about it?
Yeah, I co-owned a nursery in the Hudson Valley, just outside of Kingston, New York. And we were doing really mass scale landscapes, but sometimes you want to have some lawn maintenance work to keep cash flow. And we didn't do a lot of lawn maintenance, but we had one, and it was this former Vanderpool mansion. Also, the condominium development. I had a condo not far from the nursery, so every Saturday morning I would go and not just cut the lawn. Saturday morning, you cut the lawn. I had to cut everybody's lawns at that condo development. I did it all by myself. I didn't want anybody else there. It's my condominium development, and I lived there. And so Saturday, I'd spend my whole day Saturday cutting. Everybody was, "Oh my God, who are you?" Because I just took care of the whole place. And so that was a good contract. That was a many $1,000 contract. And then the former Vanderpool mansion. Yeah, it was $390 $390, I think it was, every time. And this is back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Here again, I was 20, and so I got talking to the guy that was living there, because his wife, her brother owned it. And so they had turned it into a nursing home, and then New York State stepped in and said, you have to put in elevators, you have to put in ramps. They started getting very heavy-handed with, and probably a lot of that was just legitimate. Like, you're dealing with a lot of old people. And so her brother, the owner, he decided to just ditch it. He's like, I'm not going through all that cost and expense. Forget that. I've got this major asset. It's a 32-bedroom mansion, 18 acres on the Hudson River. I'll figure out what to do with a, you know, wealthy guy. I'll just do with it what I do with it. So he had his sister and her husband, and they had a beautiful little girl. Oh, she was precious. Beautiful little girl. And very inquisitive, big bright eyes, beautiful little girl, Rebecca. And so I got talking to Arthur, and he said, because he always liked to smoke weed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would smoke a joint with him before I would leave there. And then he needed me to help him with a connection to always make sure he had it. He had a stash. So I connected him with somebody, and he was extremely happy. And then when I was leaving my apartment on Wall Street, Kingston, New York, he said, move in here, take the North Wing.
Wow.
I was like, all right. So I took the North Wing. Now, the North Wing of that mansion, and this is the number one reason there were so many bedrooms, it was added on for the elderly.
Yeah.
That's where they all died. So I was there, like people dying in there. So I had the North Wing, which was 12 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
I turned the master bedroom into my living room. And then I had my choice to sleep or have sex with girlfriends anytime I went on any other rooms.
You had your whole run of the place, essentially. It's any bed at any time.
Well, at the North Wing only at first, but then they moved out, and then I had the whole place. Oof. And it was something, I tell you. I was just there to make sure, like, there's no squatters slipping in, there's not kids vandalizing, breaking windows, making sure the light bulbs are squared away. So making sure the place is just, just house sitting.
In terms of, like, the estate, like, what did this estate look like? Are we talking, like, Gatsby level estate? Like, what were the details of this space?
Well, you had the great room as you enter the front door.
Yeah.
With the big chandelier. And then it had catacombs. It was massive. There were like, I don't know, maybe 18 bedrooms in the main house. Like you go upstairs, there's like 8 up there. It was this big giant mansion, bathrooms all over the place. And it was just, the Vanderpools lived there. And so, it was a whole big thing. But in that North Wing, I had my dog, a yellow lab, who would just like suddenly, I'd be watching TV and he would suddenly jump up and it would bare his teeth and and he would it charged the door.
Wow.
And now I know that he sees something I don't see, or hears it, or smells it. Canines. So I knew that it had to be a spirit. A lot of people died there.
And your dog normally was never like this. So your dog's like really chill.
What's that?
Was your dog always just really chill? Like he never showed this kind of aggression before? Yeah.
Oh, Labradors. They're very peaceful dogs.
Very lovely.
They're a lovely breed. You just take them to the water and they're just like tickled pink. I would take them down to the river and throw sticks in the river. He'd grab a stick like 3 times the size and run around with it. So that's when labs are great. But he would get really hackled up from time to time, like often enough.
And that was like was at the beginning? Like at the beginning, it started with the dog like starting to feel like, or he started barking, he started going to his door. Was that like the first initial occurrence?
Max tipped me off. Max tipped me off. There's something going on here. And
man's best friend tipping you off.
Oh, he was a good friend, very good friend. When I left for New York City, there was no way I was putting him through what was going to happen in New York. Small apartment in New York City, no way. Yeah. I gave him to a friend of mine who had 10 acres on the Hudson River. A friend of mine, Uncle Pete. And he went there. I just gave him to Pete because he's going to have a much better life. And it was sad. We had to part. But I'm not taking a dog like that to New York City. No way. I think it's unfair to the dogs. So, unless you're rich, then it's okay.
Then you got people who can take care of it and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you can pamper the dog, bring the dog. I have a dog walker, bring him to the dog place, bring to the water, whatever. But there was no way I was going to be able to do all that. So I left him there in Woodstock, actually. It was Woodstock, New York. And but yeah, he would charge the chapel. There was a chapel on the other side. And I would be walking through, especially after Art and his wife and Rebecca left. I would be there with Max, and I would be walking around. He'd follow me, of course, and wherever I went, and he would charge the chapel, very hackled up, and that's the chapel.
Yeah, of all places, you would assume, all right, chapel, God's there, everything's good. Nothing to suspect there.
Yeah, he's like, something's in here. Dad, something's here. And so it was really quite something. I had a lot of friends and family over. I was there about 2 years. In the first year, I would entertain. I was like, it was a big deal. That's like, what the hell? Like, you got a Vanderpool mansion? But so, yeah. And one Thanksgiving, my niece, an infant at the time, there was a blotch of blood on her face.
And like no cut. It just was. It just appeared.
No cut. It just appeared. Blood. It was blood, and like the blood was wiped off immediately by my sister, and like people were flipping, like, what's going on with the blood? And I have no idea. And Christmas, another niece of mine fell and broke her arm on Christmas Day. So after that, the blood was enough for me to be like, see, I ain't afraid of no ghost. Okay. They can't hurt you. They can't physically touch you, but the blood, that had me scratching my head. Like, what the hell was that blood? We're looking at the ceilings. We're looking all that. It was a mystery, a complete mystery. There's no way to know where that blood came from. Unless somebody was just playing like a prank or something and never told us. Yeah. But like, we don't know what we were just like really confused. Blood on an infant. That was a big deal. And then when Ashley broke her arm, from that point forward, no children allowed. I never had another kid on the estate.
Yeah, it definitely seemed whatever in the house was drawn to messing with the children and the dog, essentially the innocence of the people you were attached to. It seemed to be drawn to them specifically.
Yeah, and I try to be friends with them. I'd be like, hey, come on and watch some Jeopardy with me. Like I never was afraid. Come on, have a seat. Let's watch some Jeopardy. You what I know. Come on. If you can talk, tell me. You try to get some answers. Like I was always like down with it. I was unafraid. But then when I see blood on my niece and then another one breaks an arm, then it's like you're a bad ghost then or something. Or it's just coincidental. I don't know. But I would never allow kids back in there. And I would have like, keggers once in a while.
Yeah. I think what it makes me think about is because it was a nursing home, you're thinking about the elderly passed away here, probably in terrible conditions maybe. And like they felt left alone. And now they see like these children, they see lives being brought into the house. And there's like some kind of resentment maybe on their end. Like, this is where my life ended, but now you're having a whole life here,
Right. You're having too much fun. Yeah. That's something. I mean, that movie Ghost, that's a serious, one of my all-time favorite movies. And I believe that sort of thing is going on. Absolutely. We can't be so shallow and one-dimensional as to think that all there is to the human experience is what we see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we don't see. And we can sense it. I have a good ear. I keep my ear out, but it's no. There's some shit going on, And yes, of course, there's life from other planets. Of course. Yeah. That's a silly question. Oh, do you think there's life on other planets? Of course. Well, why would we be the only planet that has life on it out of all the galaxies? Like the planets in our galaxy, we got a sun that dwarfs our planet, and one galaxy over, there's a sun that dwarfs our sun.
Yeah, it's such an egotistical claim when we say we might be the only ones left. It's like, let's be honest here. Like, we barely discovered our own oceans. Like, there's still fish we're finding on a regular. Like, I think there's like about 20 new species that get discovered underwater all the time, and you think we're the only ones in this universe?
Right. It's just silly. It is just silly. It's arrogant, frankly. And save the planet. We're fleas on the back of a dog. The planet will suck us right off whenever it wants to. We go the way of the dinosaurs probably at some point. But it's I just know that there's more than our six senses or our five. I have a sixth sense, kind of some of us do. But there's like stuff well beyond, like the 12th sense out. Yeah. There's stuff, and we're supposed to be open-minded enough to understand that, yes, ghosts exist. There are too many occurrences to just reject it out of hand.
Yeah, like I think, I've had my own experiences. Like there was my mom's friend had this one house in Queens, It was always spook central over there. Like there was always something weird going on. And I remember like I'm laying in bed one night and I'm like half awake, but I feel something push me out the bed, like hand on back pushes me over. And I'm looking around and no one's there. And I don't move in my sleep, Rob. I'm like a stone rock when I sleep, so to move me is like a big time, effort. And whatever that was, it definitely pushed me over. And
don't you weigh like 500 pounds?
Yeah, about 500 now. I've been trying to practice for sumo wrestling these days. It's a new career move if the podcast is a workout.
Yeah. Do the sumo thing. Absolutely.
Gotta keep your options open. And like, I think, I've seen people like that I know personally just have these experiences, and you can't just write it off as, oh, well, this is a hallucination, or, this is something they brought in like mentally themselves in their subconscious. It's like, no, like there's real physical things that have happened to people, and you can't just deny those things.
No doubt in my mind.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. When this stuff started to happen, were there parts of the estate you wouldn't go to, or maybe you were drawn to at times? That
I would go like I walked every inch of that place.
Yeah.
I had this sexomaniac, nymphomaniac, sexual like monster of a girl, a beautiful woman. She couldn't get enough sex. She was insane. We had sex in every room in that mansion.
And you definitely had an audience.
I think so. Pull up a seat if you have to. I mean, are you going to get off on that? Do you get off on sex? Do you even enjoy looking at sex? Like, what's your deal?
We call them in the industry peekaboos.
And then don't forget, I told you there were 3 bats. Yeah.
So let's get into the bats.
Unbelievable. They just took up residency on the top floor. The room, the best room in the house, really. It was a big room, and it faced the river. You had a beautiful view of the Hudson River there. It was a beautiful room. And I kind of stayed out of that room. I felt like I would go in there, but I didn't entertain in there. Inner circle people only.
Yeah.
But not like, no. That room was kind of a cherished little spot. Like I wouldn't just have people running around in there. No. And before I know, you had a sex orgy in a room that like very proper people, built and stuff. Like no. So, but these 3 bats. When I was like, whoa! There's these 3 bats up on the ceiling, and they're just hanging out. There's a pun there, and so I had a friend who was a major pest control guy in the Hudson Valley, so I had him over. John, I said, John, you got to get over here. What do you need? John, you got to come over here. All right, well, come on, I'll come. So, because he was like an hour's drive. He was like on the other side of Kingston, but he came over, and then he was like, "They don't belong here. This is like for all whatever knowledge he had about this sort of thing. He knew those bats. It was an anomaly.
Wow, okay.
That those bats were like just there, and he took care of it. It scared me to hell. Like I don't scare about much of anything. Bats kind of creep me out, though.
Oh yeah, that's always been a thing for me. I can't. I when I go to the Bronx Zoo and I go to see the bats, I still get freaked out even though they're behind the glass. Like just there's speed in the flapping. It's just. Ugh.
They'll come in, they'll get in your hair, they'll bite you, they'll give you rabies. Like I don't have anything to do with bats. So when I saw them, I immediately got a professional. I ain't playing with that one for a minute. But so they got removed. But he did it as a favor, and that probably would have cost like a cool $500 or something. But now I had to earn my keep. I was given this mansion.
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna. Like I would always find ways to where I would let them know by email. I spoke once or I guess twice to the owner, but he didn't really have any interest in me. He says, "You're there until I do something different." Like you just you're just a very lucky boy.
Yeah.
Like that.
Did you let him? So you let him know about the ghosts and such. Like you let him know about the weird occurrences.
No, I would never talk about that with him. No, that guy was super wealthy. The people that are that super wealthy. You try to tell them something like that. It's like, I got an appointment coming in 5 minutes. I'll talk to you, another time. Like that.
Yeah, that's fair point.
I didn't know him. That's the thing. He didn't know me. Yeah. And so, we're not going to get all chummy. But yeah, I would, tell stories. People, well, they go all around town. I mean, people are aware that there's something going on over there at the end of that road, or there's something going on there. And I just rolled with it. I was there for a couple of years. The bats got taken away, and I saved them the money. That one I emailed them about. There were bats that took care of it. You don't have to pay a dime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that he's super wealthy. If I could save him 5, 6, whatever it's going to be, however many hundreds of dollars, that makes me feel good because I've got a mansion to myself without paying one dime out of pocket.
Exactly. You did your job. Yeah.
So, I was just extremely happy. That was a blessing, even for the ghosts.
So, like, let me ask you, you had the attitude of I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Where does that confidence come from? Like all these years, like you're dealing with potential poltergeists in your free mansion. Like, where does that confidence come from that you're not gonna let these ghosts run you out?
Well, I have an inner confidence that springs eternal. I don't feel fear.
Mm-hmm.
I only fear God.
Gotcha.
Like if there's droughts, if the rain stops coming, then I'll fear that because we have no control, right? So floods, the sun goes supernova, the moon, Earth's moon is pulling away from Earth's gravitational pull at a rate of 2 inches a year.
Mm.
At some point, it would stand to reason then that it just goes just out of range to where it can no longer control the tides. Like every wave becomes a tsunami or something.
Yeah.
So I fear stuff like that a little bit, but I don't dwell on those fears. I just, in the back of my mind, I'm concerned about things we have no control over. But I'm confident the way I am because I know who and what I am. I know God knows my heart. I'm always kind to everyone. I'm like a super smart guy. I was blessed with that at birth. My 6th great-grandfather was Samuel Adams, led the Boston Tea Party. And I have that genetic inheritance. I'm exactly that kind of guy. Take your Royal Navy and go pound sand. Like, I'm that exact kind.
You come from rebels, man.
Yeah, I got a rebel streak. I don't like big government. I don't want government controlling anything. You get away from me. I don't want any government, nothing on me. I don't like big government. It's because here's the thing. I had a piece in the Washington Times once, Raphael, where I was talking about, this is back when Occupy Wall Street, which morphed and mutated into like Antifa. Yeah. But Occupy Wall Street, my answer was, the problem is not the system. They're saying, no, capitalism. Okay. The problem is not capitalism, our system. The problem is greed, human greed. And that's in any system and every system since the beginning of time. But when that greed sets itself in gels in the government, like communism, then they have control over the people. And that's why I'm adamantly against any socialism. We have shades of socialism here in the United States, Social Security, welfare. There's shades of it. Sure, fine, that's understandable. But a socialistic governance or communistic governance, that's a square peg into a round hole because capitalism reigns supreme here. And capitalism is not the problem. And it's the greed. But worse than greed is jealousy. I mean, jealousy has been the cause of death to kings and queens through the millennia. Jealousy has caused the fall of empires. So I'm more concerned about the jealous little bastards who are the have and have not thing. And they're just jealous of the people that made it.
One would say jealousy made these ghosts at the former nursing home jealous of these young kids, so they went after them and they started trying to spook you. Like I think that greed of wanting more life and that jealousy of no longer being living, that's something that transcends those emotions. It transcends government, it transcends your friend groups, it transcends life, it seems. So I definitely see what you mean, how powerful those things are.
Oh, it's very powerful, very powerful. I get jealousy directed at me all the time. I because of the way I talk. My command of the language, and I'm a good-looking guy and all that. So people are always jealous. I don't ever care. You can't please everyone, so why try to please anyone? I'm just going to be what I want to be. I don't care about any of the rest. It's extraneous to me. I don't care if I hurt somebody's feelings. If I hurt your feelings, why would I care if you're angry with me? You're nobody to me. So, get angry. Do whatever you want to do. Come at me. Watch and see what happens. They end up roadkill in my rearview mirror. I do not play around out here. And I don't want to ever be mean. I'm a Christian. Inside, it's a mountain lake.
Yeah,
I'm very calm inside, but outwardly, I have to be pretty aggressive because this world demands that.
Exactly.
And mainly because of the jealousy.
Sure. Let me ask you a question. So you've gone through so many things in your life. You've had ups, downs all around. With this particular thing, do you reflect on that house often? Do you look back at it and try to decipher, what was the house trying to accomplish in its own way? Why did it necessarily find you to be an attractive person to show itself to? And was there anything that maybe you took from the experience that maybe strengthened something for you, or maybe even made you question something?
Yeah, I do that with everything. I'm always learning everything. I think, yes, learning experience, but mainly what I saw that Vanderpool Mansion as was the angels working in my life. I believe in angels, and I believe that angels work in our lives, in our earthbound existence. And so it's not just about God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Ghost as Catholics or Mormons or pretty much all the religions under the Christian umbrella would have you think and believe. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them also understand angels. I think it's really about, when somebody gets in my face messing with me out here, they come right up to me sometimes. The troublemakers, they come on, they're trying to, it's New York City, they're out there. And my answer, listen, before you say or do anything, there's two things you need to know. And they'll give me this hard look. What do you got? What? Okay. Number one, the angels are with me. Number two, I've got a wicked left uppercut.
And you know what? Honestly, that having this conversation with you about the inner peace and all that, it starts to make so much more sense why your experience at that house took place, because all these other outwardly things are coming towards you. I think there's a sense of peace that you have that those who do not have peace and those who are wicked are drawn to try to rattle it. Your lake is calm and they just want to make waves in it. And I think there's somehow in that peacefulness, it attracts, people who do not have that peacefulness, people who are wicked. And it unnerves them that your level of confidence and your level of peace is there. Oh, yeah. So I definitely, I'm definitely starting to see why you were the one the Vanderpool Mansion went, this is the guy we're going to try.
They picked me. Yeah, I was picked. And, that's just a pure blessing. So, because I feel like what you put into the universe is what you're going to get out. If you're mean and bad, that's why I hate that lyric of only the good die young. That's bullshit. There's a lot of very good people that live to ripe old ages, and there are a lot of bad people that get shot down in the streets because they're gangbanging. Yeah. So it's not all the good die young. That's a silly notion. Only the good die young. Shut up.
It sounds nice as a thought terminating device where you just go, I guess the good die young. It's there's more to it. There's someone could be great, but also have had crippling addictions or put themselves in bad situations. You can still be a good person while still make some bonehead decisions.
Well, the difference is, are you a victim of circumstance, which happens a lot, and I care about people that are a victim of circumstance. I want to help, but or are you a victim of your own doing? And I think a lot of it is you're a victim of your own doing, and then if you don't learn, then it's there's a major difference between making mistakes, which Raphael does, I do, we all do. We all make mistakes. There's a difference between making mistakes and living a life of indifference to right from wrong. Mm-hmm. And if you're living that life of indifference to right from wrong, at some point, that's going to bite you in the ass. And if you're always living, trying to do right from wrong, trying to be, good, trying to be kind, trying to be a good person, and you make every effort, you get blessings like a Vanderpool Mansion falls in your lap. It, falls right in your lap. and that's one example of many in my life. I get blessed, and it's because I am super kind, and I believe that's the whole thing. Is if you're always trying to be good and kind to others, you don't have the jealousy, you don't have this envy thing going on, you don't have malice. You're not trying to hurt somebody to make yourself look big, because that happens a lot. Like people. I helped launch that newspaper, AM Metro New York, here in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And at the time it was AM New York, #1 newspaper in Manhattan, 350,000 a day. It's a big operation.
Oh yeah.
And I was selling and running big ad campaigns. Man, the people were some of them were just unbelievably jealous, petty little jealousy. Like I would just blast them. Right? I'm not playing around. Now, there's a lot of money on that table in that conference room. And by the way, back then, when AM New York launched, if you're not there at 8 a.m., that's when the meeting starts. 8:02, 8:03, the door would get locked. You can't get in. You're barred from the meeting. You do that 3 times, you're fired. That's how serious that was. And I was 7:55, right in my seat. I was just 5 minutes right there. And I would be like, I'm a kind of a loudmouth kind of guy. And if somebody's stealing accounts or attacking somebody, I would challenge it right there in the conference room. I would say, look, you got millions of dollars on this table, okay? Like nobody's supposed to be playing around out here. Yeah. We're all supposed to be respectful of one another. And let me make something very clear. In a pool where there are sharks, I'm always the dolphin. Okay, and the dolphin will beat the hell out of a shark, and the dolphin is way smarter, and the dolphin has other dolphins. So don't be shark attacking me, because I had gotten shark attacked by the one guy, and it's a long story, but I got shark attacked bad. I lost like $12,000, and so it was a big deal. I was very upset, and I had the day prior I had yelled at that guy so loud, right there, the whole newspaper shut down. Like everybody stopped calls, stopped typing, all the writers. I mean, I came at him from the diaphragm. I'm not going to get into the story what led up to it, but I blasted him. The publisher came, Rob, city block, walk a city block, walk a city block.
Specifically a city block.
I was flipping the hell out. He was saying, walk it off. And I yelled, I'm not walking no city block. I'm walking home. And I was extremely angry. That guy ripped me off for $12,000 he stole. It was $12,000. And it wasn't just the money. It was that, how dare you attack me like that?
It's the principle.
I'm a good guy. You can't do that to me. So I was like really angry. And then the next morning at that conference room, publisher, everybody's like sitting there, like looking at their shoes, like, oh my God, I'll get fired here. Yeah. Doesn't matter. I'm bringing all the money. You get fired doing that.
Yeah. You ruffled some feathers that morning.
Well, that day when I flipped out on that guy, I mean, so I started. So the publisher comes in, Raphael. He sits at the head of that big long table, and he says to the room, "Somebody owes everybody an apology." So he gives me this hard look. I stand up and I said, "Listen, I'm going to apologize to anybody here who was on the phone with a client or a prospective client. It was unprofessional, my outburst. I understand if anybody is upset. I feel badly about that. I do. But let me make something very clear. Anybody shark attacks me where I lose thousands of dollars, I'll do the same thing all over again." And that's when I said, where there are sharks on the dolphin. And when I said, and there are always other dolphins, I pointed to the big players in the room. They all nodded right with me. I knew they'd be with me against him. So he ended up, he ended up like, nobody would have let him go to lunch with them.
Because when you think about it, like you guys are on a team trying to make sales happen. There's no reason for the snaking. So when someone realizes this guy's willing to snake one of our best providers here, he's going to snake me at some point. So this guy clearly is the bad egg. He's clearly the bad apple.
Yeah, he was brazen. He was brazen. Yeah. And I shut him right down at that. I said, I'll do the same thing again.
Yeah. And listen, sometimes I think there's a notion that people who operate in peace, people who operate, just like you do, you're a good dude, you treat people good, that you don't have fangs. And it's like, no, those fangs come out when they need to. They're just as aggressive as anybody else. And I think that's what makes people take it more seriously. 'Cause it's like, oh no, wait a minute. This guy was great all those other times. This guy snaked them, and look what he was willing to do because of that snaking. I respect that. And I think that's why
Yeah, they
the
don't
other
get a
salesmen,
fireman.
yeah, that's why I think the other salesmen were like, you know what, that dude, he's good. That dude's a good dude, and we're with him on that. And I think that's something that is, I think, universal. I think a lot of people walk around going, I'm a good dude. I don't understand why people mess with me. And then when people mess with them, they get surprised. Oh, you didn't expect a reaction? You didn't expect me to defend myself? You thought I was weak? That's craziness.
Yeah, I mean, I come across as, shall we say, batshit crazy sometimes, but uh, I just never care. I'm just going to be me, and I'm never let anybody mistake. Nobody's going to tell me how to think or talk or be or anything. I'm an American. It's a big part of being an American citizen. Just be who you want to be, and if you're good, and all you got to be is half-ass smart.
Mm.
And if you have a good vocation, you're skilled at the vocation you're in, and you got plenty of money coming in, you're safe, you got housing, you've got food, your bills are paid. Let's say it's 2.5 kids. You got a couple beautiful cars, maybe a boat, maybe even an airplane, and you're doing well. You got your pilot's license. Then I got friends with pilot's licenses, and I go up, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. It's like all everybody has to do is just be who you are, and if you're good, then let the chips fall where they will. And if somebody attacks you, don't be. My attitude is never be non-confrontational just for the sake of being non-confrontational, because then you become a doormat.
Yeah,
and I just won't have it. I go way out of my way to be too kind and decent to everyone. You're not going to allow to mess with that energy field, and I'm gonna be confrontational if I'm attacked. And so that's really important. And nobody's supposed to tell you how to think or talk, right?
Not at all.
I could tell you another quick story about that notion. If I don't know, how much time do we want to go with this?
Hey, listen, I'm down for one more story.
It's a good one.
Yeah, sweet.
It's a good one. So there's a Starbucks that's like a 6-minute walk, let's say, from the Pentagon, at Pentagon Row.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living in the D.C. area, Pentagon City at the time. And then they open their door at 6:30. If you go in at 6:30, the big boys come in. All the big boys, 4-star generals. Brian Lamb, the founder of C-SPAN, at the time the CEO of C-SPAN, who was one of my neighbors. They come in because they get in ahead of the crowd.
Yeah.
And I would get guests for the solid stuff there, like that. It was just good, solid intellectual exchanges. You get in ahead of the crowd, you got major people, you can have really good moments. Well, one morning, I'm writing, I'm doing my crossword puzzle, and I'm a crossword puzzle guy, and these 3 guys, they come, they sit right up on me. This is at the picnic table thing at Starbucks. And so there's 3, they sit right up on me. I mean, they get the whole place to themselves. They're going to sit, like I'm a magnet for this shit. They sit right to my right and 2 across from me. I'm like, what the hell? And I just continue to do my crossword puzzle. And I hear incredibly brilliant words. I'm like, who are these guys? Oh my goodness. I'm hearing stuff that I can't even understand. It's like way up there. And I'm like, what the hell was that? What? And but I ignore it. And then about 15 minutes, they stand up to leave, and the guy sitting across from me says, hey, man, sorry we crashed your table. And I say, well, now it is a public table after all. But listen, I was still able to do my crossword puzzle. Otherwise, it would have been war. So he gives a good laugh. He says, I do crossword puzzles too. So I stand up immediately. Now that's a certain ilk. Yeah. So we shake hands. He says, do you know who's just sitting right across from me to my left? I said, no, I heard brilliant talk. You guys are doing something out here. He says, Howard Schultz.
Holy shit.
I said, wait a minute. You're telling me the CEO of Starbucks was just sitting 2 feet away from me? He says, yeah, come on, I'll introduce you to him. So I'm starting off this Friday morning being walked to the CEO of Starbucks.
Wow.
I'm like, geez, why does this always happen to me, this kind of stuff? So, like, I don't know what to make of it. Like, what do we even say? Like, I've interviewed famous people. I'm no babe in the woods.
Yeah.
But this is sprung on me. Like, what do I even ask? I'm not the kind of go, yeah, nice to meet you, and shake his hand. No way, man.
No,
I got to come up with something.
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta act like you belong, buddy. You gotta make them believe you belong.
What's that?
You gotta make them believe you belong. You're in the crowd. You know, you're not gonna mark out for these dudes.
Yeah, I'm not just going to shake his hand. Nice to meet you. And no. I got to come up with something.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get up to Howard Schultz, and the guy says, hey, this is Robert Arnold. You got to meet him and say hello. And we shake hands. I said, very nice to meet you, Mr. Howard Schultz. Listen, I got a question for you. What is the ratio of franchised out Starbucks locations versus corporate owned? That's a perfectly legitimate question.
Yeah. I don't know if he was expecting that one that morning.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck is this? So it's, what the hell is this? Excuse my F-bomb. And he looks at me and he says, you mean company owned? See, because company owned sounds so much nicer. Now I'm angry.
Yeah.
Nobody tells me how to talk, period. So I say to Howard Schultz, this is the CEO of Starbucks. And I say, I said corporate owned. I meant corporate owned. You are a corporation, are you not?
Oh, they're people.
So he looks at the guy that introduced us. He's like, oh my God. When Howard Schultz looked back at me, Raphael, nothing but respect on his face. And that will happen 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
If you don't respect me as a man on my own 2 feet right there, you don't deserve to be CEO of Starbucks. Okay? You got to understand, you don't tell me how to talk. So he was just like, what's your name again? And we shake hands. Now he's got respect. He's dealing with somebody.
Yeah.
9.5 out of 10 people are like, oh, I mean, company owned. I'm sorry. Fuck that. Screw you. You don't tell me how to talk.
Yeah.
So he gave me the answer. And the answer was, the airports are the only Starbucks locations that are franchised. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. The airports, they're the worst landlords in the world. You know a thing or two. Yes, Mr. Howard Schultz. Yes, sir. And they're horrible. So you're saying that you foist the worst landlords out there on your franchisees? It just laughs. Now we're laughing together. So, you know, and then we talked a little more, and then after 5 minutes or so, it's like, I'm dismissed, and off he went. But when he was off on his way out the door of when he was exiting, I said, Howard Schultz. He looks at me and I say, sir, I wish you the very best for continued success with your company-owned chain. He just thrust out his arm with a pointer finger at me. He just thrust out, because I gave it to him in the end. You just don't tell me how to talk. And then the guy that introduced me, here's my card. Anything we could ever do for you. Well, they can't do anything for me. I don't care about their coffee thing. You know, maybe I could have called him and said, look, let's get Howard on as a guest. But my instinct said, leave it alone. Leave it alone. And so I left it alone. I didn't ever call anybody to do anything. But it's the thing is we're also, the moral of the story is, especially in the United States of America, just be who you are. Don't let anybody dictate to you what you should think, what you should say, how you should behave. If you know you're good and you know you're at all smart, just be who you are. That's the moral of the story. You got that?
100%. And I think that's a great way to like wrap this up. Like, I think listen, this from the Vanderpool Mansion to all these stories, like there's a through line of you being who you are at all times, and it leads you to great places. It leads you to great stories. It leads you to great moments. And I think that is such a great like lesson in today's day and age, especially where everyone's trying to pretend to be something else. Like their Instagram feed is curated. Everyone's a curated brand now. Apparently, that's what I always tell people. Everyone's their own little brand. They're always making sure they have the right vacation pics. But if you're yourself, that stuff just shines right through. And I think
And
that,
you're supposed to.
yeah, I think that's an important thing that should be getting out there more. And I'm happy we have it here and it's recorded and it can be disseminated amongst the people, because it is something that I always harp on. It's like, I rather you not like me than love me for something I'm not. Like, I rather just,
Exactly. That's a great line.
Yeah, man.
That's great. I'm going to use that.
And,
I'd rather you not like me than like something I'm not.
yeah, like it's.
That's a good one, Raphael. That's a very good one.
I heard it long ago, and I always lived by it, because I'm unapologetically me at all times. I can't help it. I try to help it. Like sometimes I'm like,
I never try. No. I don't ever try. I just like screw that. Because, like I said earlier in this podcast, you can't please everyone. That's an impossibility. So why try to please anyone? Just be who you are. Like, it doesn't matter. If you don't like me, I don't care. And but most people do like me. It's only the jealous little cretins that like try to nip at my heels. I give less than a damn. They could do whatever they want. I don't care. I always win in the end because I have winning ways and I just plow through, and that's it. By the way, as far as the paranormal and ghosts, I would say to anyone within the sound of Raphael and my voice, anyone listening right now, and tell everyone you know, there's a website called 13 Nightmares. It's numeric 13, 13nightmares.com. This girl she's great. Crimson. She's got a ghost tour company in Lower Manhattan, and she's a friend, and she's a principal of a school here in Manhattan. She's got a serious chair, but she loves the ghost tour stuff, and she's been in New Orleans. That's a big one. She's been to all the ghost tours, and she decided, all these people doing all these ghost tours, I could do a better job actually. So she launched her own ghost tour company in Lower Manhattan, 13nightmares.com. You could book it and just go, and she just wants to share the experience because she knows about ghosts, and she has this ghost tour. So as a matter of fact, Raphael, I think you ought to go ahead and partake. You'll enjoy it.
I'm already bookmarking it on my Google Chrome right now. I definitely want to check this out.
It's a good one. Definitely. She knows stuff. And so it's like she gives you a tour and she walks you around like where you learn, and like you're like, whoa, that's really amazing, right? So ghost tours in downtown Manhattan, and it's serious. It's like she's got it going on. She wants me to do the tours for her. She wants to pay for me to get the touring license there. I'm not a tour guy, but I would do it for her because I like what she's doing.
I gotta be honest with you, Rob. I think you could kill that, dude. I think you would be the man for that position.
That's what she says. You're the exact guy for this. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a tour guide guy. I mean, I'll do it. I can do it. But I don't really, she wants to pay me pretty good money, but it's like I'm a freelancer and I write my own schedule, so I could fit it in. Absolutely. For Crimson? Absolutely. I like her a lot. And she's a principal where she's got a lot of influence over like children and stuff. So she's good. She's a good girl. So it's good stuff. So yeah, 13 Nightmares and then ghost tours, and it's good stuff. So I would say everybody is supposed to, if you have any interest in supernatural, paranormal, ghost stuff, that's a tour to take.
Definitely. I will make sure to check it out myself, and maybe I can, interview her at some point. Like, I would love to just go on a tour with her and just see what she's discovered about Lower Manhattan.
She'd probably give you an interview, yeah. I mean, she would laugh like I do about it's not like this is a big gig, but it's fun to do. And like I said, I really like the way you word yourself and what you're doing. I think you're a smart man. And so I always want to help it's the arts, basically, right?
Amen. We're both brothers in the arts.
Yeah, I love the arts. I love the whole genre. And by the way, for politics, now, anybody that's listening right now, if you're like a Trump hater and you're a far lefty, you're not going to like this website. But you might want to go and learn a thing or two, maybe find some enlightenment. It's confirmedsource.com. confirmedsource.com. We got like over 100 countries visiting our website. The Kremlin and the White House visit this website.
That is some wild company to have.
Yes, both the Kremlin and the White House. We're like, what the hell's going on here? But at the Kremlin, it's called Senate Square, and we can track where all the hits are coming from. And it's like, whoa, all right, some guy with a big hat, I'm going to say, in the Kremlin is like, so he's got that big hat. It's bigger than his head. It's up there. So, we don't know who at the Kremlin or the White House. We don't know who. At the White House, we're thinking probably Barron, because Barron Trump is like the
He's definitely on
internet guru. Donald Trump Jr. hit a like button for one of our stories. My partner with the website has a big handprint in the social media universe, and Donald Trump Jr. hit the like button for one of our satirical pieces, which was Donald Trump discovers the cure for cancer, and the anti-Trump contingent and Democrats, they get angry with him and they complain of overpopulation. So, Donald Trump Jr. got a kick out of it. He hit the like button and visited our website. So confirmedsource.com. I would say, look, if anybody is sour on politics, just go to Joe King. It's fun. His name is Joe. His last name is King. They call him Joe King. Joe King.
Our boy Joe King, man. Oh man,
we started off with the garlic, but the onion, their lawyers flew at us and gave us a cease and desist. The onion wouldn't let us do the garlic.
Hey,
they flew at us.
They've got the veggies on lock.
Yeah, they're like, screw you, you can't use the garlic. And we're the onion, you can't do that. The lawyers did the cease and desist. If we went to court, we win. You can't tell us not to do it. But Bill is like, Rob, he's a multimillionaire. He's like, Rob, it's my money that would be used to fight the damn thing. I'm not going to spend money on that. So anyway, it went to Joe King. And so at the website, confirmedsource.com, if you go to Joe King, you'll get some laughs. And laughter is a big deal in this world. So Joe King, get some laughs. And if you want to do a ghost tour, it's 13nightmares.com.
Thank you so much, Rob. It was so great to sit down with you tonight, man.
I'm sorry if I overtalked a little, buddy.
Hey, listen, buddy. This is what we do here. we get on the phone and we yap, baby.
I try to rein myself in, but sometimes I can't help myself. So, but I got a lot to say. But yeah, so I'm glad to have been on the podcast with you, and I wish you the very best. I want you to succeed with your podcast. It's a great idea, so I hope that it grows exponentially.
Thank you so much, Rob. I will definitely love to have you on again. Talk about politics, talk about history, just anything. I would love to have you back on.
Yeah, I'll give you my time any day of the week. You're a good guy. You're a good one. You're a good one. I like you. You're very good. You had a great energy, and I hope that everything is fantastic for you, and that you enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. You enjoy the rest of your summer too, Rob.
Okay, if we ever end up with a boat outing, I'll let you know. You come out of the boat with us.
I would love to go on a boat.
You'll go on a boat. You'll go across a moat. You'll go in a plane. You'll experience no pain. You'll go in a car, planes, trains, automobiles. So yeah, great talking with you, and have a great night.
You have a great night too, Rob.
If you've been listening tonight and you've got a story of your own, something strange, something hidden, something unexplainable, we want to hear it. Call our guest line at 857-327-5872 and leave a message. When you hear the tone, tell us your secret. And for more stories, behind-the-scenes clips, and upcoming episodes of Darkness Across America and This One in Darkness, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at This One in Darkness. I'm Rafael Martinez, and I'm just trying to find a light in the dark.